So AMD just dropped some big news, and it's not just for higher end GPU owners, it's actually very beneficial for lower end GPU owners that are looking to upcycle.
And AMD cares about all gamers. So we enabled FSR3 not just to work on Radeon graphics cards, to work on any graphics card.
So it might be time to dust off that old GPU and put it back to work. I'm going to show you just why this is so important. And just because this was an AMD event doesn't mean it was only beneficial to AMD GPU owners. It's actually beneficial to NVIDIA GPU owners as well. I'm going to show you how. So the technology that benefits both AMD and NVIDIA as well is called FSR3. FSR stands for Fidelity Super Resolution. It's AMD's third generation upscaling technology designed to enhance visual quality of video games. At its core, FSR3 is about making games look smoother and sharper, even on hardware that might not be the latest and most powerful. Keep that in mind. At a basic level, FSR3 takes a lower resolution game image and upscales it to a higher resolution. So let's say you're running a game natively at 1080p. FSR3 will upscale it to make it look like it's running at 1440p or even 4K, depending on the settings. That's nothing new, right? We know about upscaling. While traditional upscaling can often result in a blurry or distorted image, FSR3 uses an advanced algorithm to ensure that upscaled images retain sharpness and detail. It intelligently analyzes the game's graphics to determine the best way to output and upscale each part of the image. One of the significant benefits of FSR3 is that it can offer improved frame rates. By running a game at a lower native resolution and upscaling it, the game can often achieve higher frame rates than if it were running at that resolution natively. This will benefit a wide range of cards, including NVIDIA cards. So instead of having to rely on my 3080 machine to stream games over to my 1070 Ti machine, I'll actually just be able to run a lot of them natively, hopefully. That'll just save me a lot of time and power and just setup. And at the same time, I'm keeping that 1070 Ti chugging for a lot longer than I expected. So another technology that I talked about was called fluid motion frames. Fluid motion frames is a technology developed by AMD that aims to enhance gaming performance by adding generated frames. This results in smoother gameplay and can significantly boost performance. How does fluid motion frames work? Fluid motion frames adds fully generated frames into gameplay. This means that instead of relying solely on the frames produced by the game itself, fluid motion frames generate additional frames to fill in the gaps to ensure smoother motion. By adding these generated frames, fluid motion frames can significantly increase the game's performance. AMD demonstrated by activating the new HyperRX feature with fluid motion frames can increase frame rates from 73 to 178 with the RX 7800 XT releasing later this year. Fluid motion frames is set to be integrated with AMD's HyperRX technology. HyperRX is a one-click solution that combines three AMD technologies: Anti-lag Plus, Radeon Boost, and Radeon Super Resolution. With the addition of fluid motion frames, this will add a huge boost to performance. One of the key features with fluid motion frames is that it operates on a driver level. This means that game developers don't have to make specific optimizations for it. Once activated, fluid motion frames will work across different games without the need for individual game adjustments. That's that good shit. So what is HyperRX and how does it work? So with HyperRX, with a single click, users can activate performance enhancing features, akin to having like a turbo boost feature for games. But HyperRX isn't just a standalone tool, it's a hub that brings together multiple AMD technologies. By centralizing these features, it ensures they work in harmony, optimizing game performance and visual fidelity. It's like a smart assistant that has access to your PC hardware as well as the game you're playing, and then it makes real-time adjustments for the best experience. HyperRX in theory would have the capabilities to detect the best settings for each game and apply them automatically. While HyperRX is designed for ease of use, it likely offers advanced settings for those who want more control. This allows both beginners and seasoned gamers to tweak settings to their preferences. I'm really enjoying what AMD is doing because it's doing what NVIDIA should be doing, and they're kind of taking the torch and just running with it and offering their services to NVIDIA customers as well, including me because I'm a lifelong NVIDIA customer. I love upcycling also, and the fact that I'm still running that 1070 Ti and I'm seeing a lot of memes and stuff about people, resurrecting their old GPUs and bringing them back to life and running Elden Ring and stuff like that. And I'm pretty hyped to do that myself. Like, I want to break this 1070 Ti out again and kind of push it to its limits again, because it's really just there to stream games from the 3080 over to it, because it just, it can't handle new AAA games. I like to play the new like Street Fighter and stuff. I want to play new fighters on this thing. I've designed it to be a modern arcade cabinet to play modern games with, AAA games. They seem to be the company that's focused on gamers, and they're putting a lot of their resources into gamers. But Nvidia is out there, really kind of providing that more corporate experience. It seems like they're kind of drifting away from the gamers and nuzzling up to the people that want to do AI and these bigger corporations, while AMD is hanging back like, oh, you're just going to forget about the gamers? Well, we'll be glad to pick up the slack and help the gamers out. So I'm going to go wherever it benefits me, you know what I mean? If that means maybe going AMD GPU in the future to benefit from some of these other features that Nvidia won't get, like the fluid motion frames and stuff like that, maybe I'll switch over to the AMD universe for GPUs, Only time will tell. Until then, peace. That's some good bourbon.